There's a saying that goes, you truly discover the depths of a person only when you part ways with them. Well, I'd say you begin to notice their genuine nature well before the ink dries on the contract. It was an ordinary Tuesday in March when I stumbled upon the shocking truth about my husband of 12 years and his affair with his secretary. Wow, that really feels like a line from a cheesy film, almost like it was pulled right from a predictable script. Yet there I found myself embodying that familiar tale. Greetings, I'm Melanie Foster. Back then, I was 38 years old, immersed in my role as a senior financial analyst at Brookfield Partners. My journey into risk assessment and asset protection has been filled with unexpected twists, revealing how these skills would come to my rescue in ways I could never have imagined when I embarked on this career path. It was during our time in graduate school that Garrett and I crossed paths. He was immersed in the world of law while I was navigating the complexities of my MBA in finance. We were the dynamic duo that everyone admired, each of us fueled by ambition and determination. When he secured a partnership at Caldwell and Remington, one of Denver's most esteemed law firms, we rejoiced for days on end. His achievements filled me with a deep sense of pride. That's the tale that still brings a twinge of pain at times. My feelings for him were deep and genuine, profoundly. It was an ordinary day when I stumbled upon the revelation about Vanessa, completely unprepared for what I would discover. Isn't that just the way things tend to unfold? I decided to swing by Garrett's office to treat him to lunch. A spontaneous gesture that was quite rare for us, given our hectic schedules. The receptionist mentioned he was currently in a meeting but would wrap up shortly, so I chose to linger in his office. Garrett's computer sat open unguarded, a rare sight, indeed. He often found himself consumed by worries over the secrets entrusted to him by his clients. A message notification appeared from VDU. It lingered in my mind, reflecting on the events of the previous evening. I'm so excited for our weekend adventure. I acquired a unique piece to adorn myself with, or perhaps choose not to wear. I simply lingered in that moment. My hands trembled with such intensity that I had to place the lunch bags down to avoid letting them slip from my grasp. Then a flurry of messages arrived, each one painting a clearer picture than the one before. I couldn't tear myself away, as if I were witnessing a slow-motion disaster unfold before my eyes. Once upon a time, there was a character named VW Vanessa Winters. She was a 29-year-old secretary boasting flawless highlights and legs that seemed to stretch into infinity. The one he had personally chosen to bring on board, the one he had been collaborating with during those long late nights for the past 6 months. Mel, what brings you to this place? Garrett's voice startled me. He lingered in the doorway, his face transforming from astonishment to concern as he caught sight of his computer screen. I brought lunch. I mentioned, my voice echoing softly, almost as if it were coming from far away. It appears you've been enjoying a delightful banquet of experiences already. His face transformed in a way that spoke volumes. This journey. It's a challenge to put into words. In an instant, he transformed from the man I had shared 12 years of my life with into someone I no longer recognized. His gaze turned steely, his jaw clenched, a silent narrative unfolding in the tension of his expression. You really shouldn't be going through my private messages, he said with a chill in his voice. Can you imagine that? That was the tale he shared, not rejection. No need for an apology. Only acclaim. As I waited for you, they suddenly appeared, I remarked. What's the duration? Garrett? With a deep breath, he relaxed his grip on the tie around his neck. Listen. Melanie, sometimes life unfolds in unexpected ways. As time passes, individuals often find themselves drifting in different directions. Life has swept us up in the whirlwind of our careers. How could you even think to place this burden on me? I exclaimed, finally discovering my strength. What's the way forward? Lengthy. After 8 long months, he finally came clean. Yet it need not be something monumental. Let's navigate this together. I've found myself in a bit of a predicament. 8 months have passed, nearly 250 days filled with deception. Every one of those journeys for work, every one of those late meetings, has its own tale to tell. Every one of those weekends when he claimed to be buried in casework. As I rose to my feet, I collected my purse and made my way to the door, trying to maintain every ounce of dignity I could summon. As I approached him, I took a moment to gather my thoughts. We'll share our thoughts on this when we get home, I said. As I glided by him, he seized my arm. Not difficult, but grasped my arm firmly, trying to stop me. Melanie, think carefully about this, he murmured. Don't forget about our agreement. Keep in mind who holds the title to the majority of our possessions. Please keep this beautiful. In that moment, with those words, a vivid realization took shape within me. This was more than simply an affair. This was a journey into the essence of Garrett's being. A person who would wield their financial influence as a looming shadow before the real clash had even taken shape. I'm always clever, Garrett, I said, freeing my arm with a swift motion. Do you recall how much you cherished that about me? I stepped out of his office, moving by Vanessa's desk, where she feigned deep concentration on her paperwork. Her cheeks tinged with a rosy hue. For a fleeting moment, our gazes intertwined. She was aware that I was aware. In that brief instant, a shadow of remorse danced across her features before she averted her gaze. I reached my car, but that's when the dam finally burst. I found myself in the parking garage, my hands clutching the steering wheel tightly, turning my knuckles a ghostly white, and I wept until I could hardly catch my breath. Over a decade after 12 years of weaving a life together, it all unraveled in an instant, leaving me facing threats from the very person I once trusted. But let me share something about reaching the lowest point. Once you arrive, the journey ahead is all about ascending. As I sat in that car, observing my mascara streaking down in the rearview mirror, a faint, chilling voice began to murmur in the depths of my mind. A voice echoed in the room, reminiscent of the financial analyst I once was during those intense boardroom discussions. Once upon a time, there were assets and liabilities, each with their own tales to tell. In a world filled with uncertainty, the wise would embark on journeys of risk assessment, crafting plans for every possible twist and turn that fate might throw their way. They prepared for the unexpected, weaving intricate stories of contingency planning that would guide them through the storms ahead. As I made my way home, I gathered my essentials into an overnight bag and found myself checking into a cozy hotel. I sought a moment of solitude, a chance to reflect and strategize throughout my journey. I've come to realize that feelings can often cloud our judgment when it comes to making wise financial choices. And what was divorce, if not the unraveling of a shared financial journey? That evening, in a pristine hotel room overlooking the vibrant skyline of downtown Denver, I chose not to reach out to my friends. I chose not to reach out to my family. Instead, I opened my laptop and started weaving a narrative through my list. A detailed chronicle of our shared journey, our treasures, our burdens, our ledgers. As I delved into the figures, a chilling revelation washed over me. Throughout the last year, Garrett had been shifting funds here and there. It begins with modest contributions gradually building to more significant amounts. Payments made to obscure entities I was unfamiliar with. Accounts of investment opportunities that were beyond my reach. He wasn't merely orchestrating a secret rendezvous. He was crafting a grand escape. As dawn broke, I quietly returned home, ensuring I slipped in before Garrett stirred from his slumber. He had not returned home the previous night, and it was easy to imagine where he had chosen to linger instead. I sought entry to his home office to retrieve our financial documents. I also needed him to think I was unraveling, not scheming. As he walked through the door around midday, I was perched at the kitchen island, wearing an expression that spoke volumes of my despair. To be honest, it wasn't difficult to achieve. I felt crushed, yet I was still able to move forward. Mel, he exhaled, placing his keys on the table. It's time for a conversation. What can you share about Vanessa? Or perhaps the secrets you've been keeping about your finances, I inquired softly. His head jerked upward, gaze sharpening. What are you sharing with me? I'm a financial analyst, Garrett. Let me share some insights with you. Did you honestly believe I wouldn't catch on to $430,000 vanishing over the span of 18 months? He bounced back swiftly. I can acknowledge that. The fleeting astonishment gave way to a familiar assurance, reminiscent of the demeanor I'd witnessed in legal battles. Those are genuine ventures in the world of commerce, he remarked with a calm demeanor. Honestly, those matters are not for you to worry about. My finances are my narrative. I gently reminded him that our finances were intertwined. Do you recall that we're married? With a hearty chuckle, he strolled over to the liquor cabinet and filled his glass with a generous pour of bourbon. The agreement you signed tells a different tale. Given the situation, I believe it's time we explore the details of parting ways. 13 years ago, we put our names on that prenup. Back when we had nothing to our names, I remarked. Many things have transformed. Not in the eyes of the law, he said, savoring his drink with a deliberate pause. Courts frequently support agreements like ours. Come on, Mel. You stepped into this with full awareness. I had a tale to share. Indeed, that was the case. When we tied the knot, I was a dreamy 26-year-old full of hope and faith and everlasting love. At that time, the prenup appeared to be a fair agreement, a mere formality that would remain irrelevant as our bond is unbreakable. Oh, how innocent I was. Is that all there is? I inquired. 12 years together, and you're simply finished. Garrett propped himself against the counter, his gaze fixed on me as he sipped from his glass. Listen, I'm not the villain here. Rest assured, I will ensure your needs are met. Have you heard about the condo in Cherry Creek? That can be yours? A fair support arrangement for a year or two as you find your footing, yet the home, the getaway spot, my financial ventures, those linger in my mind. What about Vanessa? I found myself compelled to inquire. Will she take up residence here after I leave? A fleeting expression danced across his features. Frustration, perhaps a hint of remorse. Vanessa is intricate, he said thoughtfully. Indeed, we have tales to share. I understand, I replied. Indeed, I truly did. Everything was coming together perfectly. So when did these ideas first come to you? He shrugged, his impatience with my inquiries evident. Is it significant? Once upon a time, there was a journey that has now reached its end. I've had a conversation with Trevor Blackwell. Trevor was a companion and coworker known for his expertise in the realm of divorce law. He'll take care of my part of the journey. I recommend seeking representation without delay. So you've got your legal team in place already. The pain seeped through my words. This was unfolding more swiftly than I had ever imagined. It's merely a matter of business, Mel. Surely you can see that clearly. It's all about the transactions. A dozen years of togetherness diminished to a mere exchange. A sensation stirred within me, akin to molten metal, solidifying in icy waters. On that particular night, Garrett found himself in the guest room, where dreams and whispers of the past intertwined. I found myself wide awake in our bed, soon to become solely his gazing at the ceiling, while the sound of his late-night phone call filled the room. The unspoken connection was clear. His gaze was directed at her, and I could sense the conversation unfolding without a single word exchanged. The following morning, as the aroma of coffee filled the air, he shared the details of his proposed settlement. It felt like a slap in the face. Once upon a time, we acquired a Cherry Creek condo, envisioning it as a promising investment. However, the tides turned, and it found itself in troubled waters, valued at less than our outstanding debt. The alimony, though generous in name, would scarcely meet my fundamental needs for an entire year. In the meantime, he would retain our expansive 4,000-square-foot residence in Highlands Ranch, the cozy cabin in Breckenridge, his retirement savings, and all of our shared investment portfolios. This is absurd, I exclaimed, sliding the papers back across the table. Half of what we've created belongs to me. That's not how the prenup reads, he responded with a steady demeanor, and it doesn't align with the way the assets are registered. Come on, Melanie. Let's be sensible here. Challenge me on this, and you might find yourself with even fewer options. I gazed at my husband, this unfamiliar figure donning Garrett's visage, and came to a significant realization. He believed I was foolish. Or to put it more precisely, he believed I was lacking in financial wisdom. In our union, he took charge of the legal affairs, and I placed my trust in him for that responsibility. What he didn't seem to recall was that my days were filled with unraveling financial vulnerabilities and safeguarding assets for multi-million-dollar corporations. Text. I require a moment to reflect. I murmured, my voice barely above a whisper. The events unfolded rapidly, and he nodded, a satisfied look on his face as he recognized my seeming acquiescence. Enjoy your weekend, but I would appreciate a response by Monday. I want to bring this to a swift and tidy conclusion. I had a feeling you would. That afternoon, as Garrett was probably at the gym or spending time with Vanessa, I found myself making two significant phone calls. My journey began with Diana Ortega, a remarkable divorce attorney in Colorado, whom I had the pleasure of meeting at a financial summit 3 years ago. The second was a message to my boss sharing the need for 2 weeks of emergency personal leave. A phrase from Garrett lingered in my thoughts, resonating like a familiar tale waiting to be told. Challenge me on this, and you might find yourself with even fewer options. My plans did not include a confrontation with him, at least not in the manner he anticipated. Absolutely not. I had something much more impactful in mind. I was about to heed that distant calculating voice within me, the one skilled in evaluating risks and safeguarding what mattered, the one already crafting a strategy. In the following fortnight, I found myself immersed in an extraordinary journey of concentration and dedication. Though Garrett believed I was unraveling a notion I subtly fostered by looking emotional and preoccupied in his presence, I was in reality diligently navigating a well-thought-out plan. Diana, my attorney, was truly invaluable at her $750 hourly rate. In our initial meeting, I shared all the details I had the affair, the concealed money transfers, the prenup I had signed when I was young and naive. She examined the document and mentioned that the prenup might be contestable, particularly if we could demonstrate that he was already shifting assets in anticipation of a divorce. That reflects a lack of sincerity. Yet navigating challenges requires patience and outcomes are never assured. What if I shared with you that there could be deeper layers to this situation than merely concealed marital assets? I inquired with caution. Diana's eyebrows arched in surprise. I'm all ears. While following the trail of Garrett's financial activities, I stumbled upon some curious discrepancies. Payments to seemingly non-existent entities, puzzling cash withdrawals, and a recurring theme of billing clients for hours that don't quite match up with his schedule. This wasn't completely accurate, not at this moment, but I had my doubts, and I needed to discover if Diana would stand by me if those doubts turned out to be true. Melanie, Diana said with a measured tone, are you implying that your husband could be involved in questionable financial activities at his company? If such evidence were to come to light, it could significantly alter the course of our divorce negotiations. Diana regarded me intently for a while, then gave a slow nod. Imagine stumbling upon something unexpected while searching for marital assets, evidence of billing fraud or tax evasion. That discovery could shift the balance of power dramatically. However, she warned, lifting a finger in caution, if you seek out such evidence with intent or venture into unauthorized areas, the consequences could be quite dramatic. I grasped it completely. Diana was sharing the parameters of the law while also recognizing the possible approach. I had to tread lightly, paying close attention to detail, and most importantly, ensuring everything was above board in my quest for information. And thus, the journey of Operation Financial Freedom commenced. That's precisely how I referred to it in my notes. It may seem trivial, but it provided me with clarity when everything around me felt like it was falling apart. My journey began with the important task of establishing my own financial foundation. There was a bank account that Garrett was unaware of, not due to any secretive intentions, but rather because it was an old account I had simply never closed since before we got married. I sent my next 3 paychecks straight to that account. Next, I started capturing every detail of our home, snapping photos of cherished possessions, compiling spreadsheets of original prices and current values. The art collection that brought Garrett so much pride, the wine cellar valued at nearly $100,000, the watches, the furniture, everything. The most intriguing aspect was navigating the delicate task of obtaining Garrett's financial records while keeping everything under the radar. Thankfully, the years spent weaving our lives together had bestowed upon me some unique benefits. I was familiar with his habits, his codes, or at least the different versions he employed. And above all, I was aware of the moments he would step out of the house. While he believed I was attending yoga classes or therapy sessions, both mere facades for my rendezvous with Diana, I was truly sifting through a treasure trove of financial statements, tax returns, and the contents of his home office files. What I discovered validated my deepest fears and provided me with the crucial advantage I had been seeking. Garrett had been weaving a complex tale of concealed marital assets. He had been weaving a complex web of deceit, engaging in tax fraud and billing fraud for years. He wove a tale of deceit, crafting a narrative where clients were billed twice personal expenses, masqueraded as business deductions, and a labyrinthine shell structure concealed income from the watchful eyes of the IRS. I couldn't help but notice the irony. Garrett focused on the intricate world of corporate law, navigating the complexities of compliance issues. He navigated the intricate web of regulations, skillfully bending the rules he once guided others to follow. I captured every detail with care, creating duplicates and safeguarding them in a cloud account that was exclusively mine. Diana took a look at my findings and validated what I had already been thinking. This situation had the power to not only nullify our prenup, but also to jeopardize Garrett's legal career if it were to come to light. Yet there was still a missing element that would bring my vision to life. I had to find a way to see him and Vanessa together to gather undeniable evidence of the affair that even Garrett couldn't talk his way out of. The chance arrived quicker than I had anticipated. 3 weeks after uncovering the secret, Garrett revealed his plans to travel to Chicago for a legal conference from Thursday to Sunday. A brief glance at the American Bar Association calendar revealed no sign of such a conference. "That's perfectly all right," I remarked gently during our meal. "While you're away, I could embark on a journey to see my sister in Phoenix." "That sounds promising," he remarked, his gaze still fixed on his screen. Taking a break could provide some clarity regarding the settlement. I nodded, embodying the character of the slowly coming to terms, soon-to-be former spouse. "Perhaps you have a point." On a Thursday morning, I played the part of a traveler, even going so far as to take a lift with my suitcase in tow. Unbeknownst to Garrett, I had arranged for the lift to leave me at an ordinary sedan. I made my way to a hotel room I had reserved close to our home and settled in, anticipating what was to come. As the clock struck 2 p.m., I found myself gliding past our home. As anticipated, Garrett's car had vanished into thin air. He shared with me that his flight was scheduled for 11 a.m. Yet what took me by surprise was the sight of a familiar red BMW parked in our driveway. The tail of Vanessa's car. They didn't even bother to wait for his scheduled departure. They gathered at our home in our bed while I was meant to be on a flight to Phoenix. I found a spot along the curb and settled in, my heart racing with anticipation. This was the moment, the last element I was searching for. After an hour, I approached my front door, the familiar weight of my key in hand, and slipped inside quietly. The sounds from upstairs hinted at what was happening, of the unfolding events. With a deep breath to calm my nerves, I steadied my trembling hands and ascended the stairs. The events that unfolded next resembled a sequence straight out of a poorly crafted film. As I gently nudged the bedroom door ajar, a world of memories awaited me inside. Vanessa reacted in shock. Garrett let out a curse. Garments were snatched up. Whispers of blame filled the air. I remained poised in the doorway, witnessing the confrontation firsthand. "Melanie, what on earth?" Garrett exclaimed hastily, tugging on his pants. "It seems your journey was meant to lead you to Phoenix. And you should be heading to Chicago," I responded calmly. "It's fascinating how neither of us has ended up in the places we once envisioned." Vanessa hurriedly collected her clothes, her cheeks flushed with a mix of humiliation and fury. It could very well be a combination of the two. "This isn't what it seems," Garrett attempted, relying on the most time-worn phrase in existence. I genuinely found it amusing. "It is precisely what it appears to be, Garrett. Picture this: you and your secretary nestled in our grand bed on a Thursday afternoon when the world outside expects us to be elsewhere. You are watching me," he charged, his mind already gearing up for a counterstrike. Upon returning home, I realized I had left something behind. I wove a tale with ease. Yet deep down, I'm truly thankful for how things turned out. Now all the tales are laid bare. Vanessa, her attire only half in place, attempted to quietly navigate around me toward the door. I moved aside to let her go by, but not without mentioning. He mentioned, "You've been together for 8 months. Just so you're aware of what lies ahead." The expression of bewilderment on her face validated yet another hunch I had. Garrett had been weaving a tale for her as well about the duration of their connection. In those quiet moments, Garrett transformed entirely. The once embarrassed adulterer had vanished, giving way to the cold, calculating attorney I had become familiar with over these past weeks. "This doesn't alter our agreement," he remarked, fastening his shirt with a steady hand. "Your little ambush today only reinforced the urgency to bring this to a swift conclusion." I concurred, catching him off guard. "Let's wrap this up swiftly. I'll agree to your settlement offer, but there's a story behind it that needs to be told first." He appeared wary, yet captivated. "What situation?" I would like to be the one to share with the partners at your firm the details of your inventive billing methods and your intricate tax evasion strategy. His complexion faded, leaving a ghostly pallor. For a few moments, he remained silent, his gaze fixed on me as the weight of my words began to unfold. "You're bluffing," he finally said, though the uncertainty in his voice betrayed him. Client number 4729, Remington Technologies. I recalled from memory, charged for 44 hours in March while you were enjoying Cabo with me. On Christmas Day last year, the Scardino Trust received a bill for document review. Once upon a time, there was an offshore account nestled in the Caymans known as Foster Consulting Group. It became the secretive vessel for over 800,000 in unreported income, weaving a tale of intrigue and hidden fortunes. Is it worth carrying on? He sank down onto the edge of the bed. Our bed, where just moments before he had shared a moment with another woman. "What tales do you seek?" he inquired, his voice soft and hushed, as if sharing a secret. A grin spread across my face as I sensed the change in the atmosphere around me. "All of it, Garrett. I desire it all." That night, Garrett found himself in the guest room once more. But this time, it was not a decision of his own making. The tension in the room grew heavy with unspoken words as he sought to unravel the mystery of my knowledge and weigh his choices. Rest eluded me as well. I felt a surge of energy, acutely conscious of the edge I was teetering on. The coming day would unveil the fate of my carefully crafted scheme, revealing either triumph or a dramatic downfall. On a Friday morning, I found myself in the kitchen when Garrett walked in, his appearance weary and worn. He filled his cup with coffee and took a seat opposite me at the island. He spoke thoughtfully, reflecting on the worries you shared. "I'm ready to share a more fair resolution." I nodded, maintaining a calm demeanor as I absorbed the words being shared. "Complete control of the Cherry Creek condo, with all mortgage responsibilities assigned to me, half of our liquid assets, and a one-time alimony payment of $250,000. I savored the warmth of my coffee, letting each drop linger on my tongue. That makes sense, yet it still falls short. His jaw clenched, a silent tale of tension unfolding within him. "What do you propose instead?" "The cabin nestled in Breckenridge, the house a significant portion of our liquid assets, and you must present yourself to the Colorado Bar Association and the IRS." He chuckled in disbelief. "Surely you jest." "That would mark the conclusion of my journey. Every choice we make leads us down a path, Garrett. So do warnings," he retorted. "If you attempt to reveal my secrets, I'll assert that you were in on it all along. We submitted our tax returns together. Do you recall? We will face this together." I had a feeling this would be the answer. The distinction lies in the fact that I possess recorded evidence of where my income originates. I possess emails that reveal my inquiries about specific deductions you guaranteed were valid. I possess notes from our discussions that capture the moments when my concerns were brushed aside. The inquiry is what must you demonstrate. I was aware of the tales surrounding your financial misdeeds. The hush that enveloped the room spoke volumes, revealing all I sought to understand. Garrett was a brilliant attorney. Yet he had stumbled in a significant way within the narrative of our marriage. He had misjudged my capabilities. He took charge of all our financial and legal affairs, convinced that I was happy to let him oversee that aspect of our existence. He was unaware that I had been observant, inquiring, and documenting everything, not out of suspicion, but simply because it is my nature. A meticulous financial analyst dedicated to precision and depth in every analysis. After a moment of contemplation, he finally spoke up, expressing his need for time to reflect. "Feel free to take as long as you wish," I responded, however grasp this concept. As the clock strikes 5 in the evening. "Today, if we can't reach a signed agreement on my terms, I'll be sharing the documentation with the managing partners at Caldwell and Remington, the Colorado Bar Association, and the IRS." He gazed at me as if truly noticing my presence for the very first time. "Would you truly go that far?" "After a dozen years. 8 months. "Garrett," I gently reminded him, "you discarded over a decade for a fleeting 8 months with Vanessa, and then you attempted to abandon me with nothing to hold on to." "Absolutely, I would definitely take that step." After that, he stepped out of the house, likely to seek advice from his friend, who specializes in divorce law. I seized the moment to embark on the next chapter of my journey. Once upon a time, I reached out to Diana to share the latest developments in our tale. She orchestrated the creation of a settlement agreement that reflected my terms, ensuring it was delivered to Garrett's office by noon. Next, I embarked on a journey of financial decisions that I had meticulously planned for ahead of time. I moved my share from our joint accounts into my own separate account. I reached out to our investment manager and put a hold on specific transactions within our portfolio. I updated the passwords for our shared cloud storage and email accounts. In a significant turn of events, I successfully wrapped up the sale of our vacation property in Breckenridge, a transaction I had been discreetly orchestrating for weeks. As a co-owner, I held the legal authority to sell, although typically, Garrett's signature would have been required. 2 years prior, Garrett entrusted me with power of attorney to manage the property affairs. While he was engrossed in a significant case, he had never taken it back, likely having forgotten it was even there. Yesterday marked the conclusion of the sale, with the funds now resting in a temporary escrow account under my management. As the clock strikes 3 in the afternoon, Garrett had been silent for a while. I reached out to him with a straightforward message, just 2 hours left. As the clock struck 4:15 in the afternoon, he burst through the door, the sound echoing like thunder, causing the windows to tremble in response. He burst into the kitchen where I was seated quietly, going over some documents. "You sold Breckenridge!" he exclaimed, flinging papers onto the counter. "How on earth did you manage that without my approval?" With a steady voice, I responded, "Power of attorney, the one you shared with me in 2020, regarding the property issues. It remains untouched." With a frantic gesture, he raked his fingers through his hair, his eyes wide and filled with a sense of urgency. "This is absolutely wild. This isn't something you can accomplish." "I have indeed," I replied. Yesterday marked the conclusion of the sale. The funds are held in escrow while we navigate the details of our divorce settlement. "I've crafted every piece of what we possess," he exclaimed with fervor. "All of it. So you believe you can simply claim it for yourself?" "We crafted it as a team," I pointed out to him, "and you intended to seize everything I had. The only distinction here is that my skills in this game surpass what you anticipated." For a fleeting instant, I sensed the possibility of him turning to aggression. With his fists tightly balled at his sides, his expression twisted in a fierce display of anger. Yet Garrett had always been focused on maintaining control, on crafting the right image. Physical violence would disrupt the delicate narrative he had woven around himself. Text. "The settlement agreement," I remarked, gesturing to the stack of documents resting on the counter. "Diana crafted it beautifully." "You have." As I glanced at my watch, 40 minutes to put your name on it. "Otherwise, the narrative fades away." "You spiteful creature," he murmured. "No, Garrett, I have tales of resilience. There exists a distinction." With a fierce determination, he seized the settlement papers and marched into his home office, the door crashing shut behind him. Sounds of chaos filled the air, with objects crashing and the sharp shatter of glass echoing through the space. My seat at the kitchen island remained untouched. As the clock ticked down to 4:52 p.m., with only 8 minutes left before my deadline, Garrett finally appeared, holding the agreement in hand. "I hope you're happy," he said, a sharp edge to his voice, as he flung the document down before me. "Everything has been shattered beyond repair. Actually, that was your doing. I made the necessary corrections, ensuring that every signature was accounted for. I took the necessary steps to ensure my survival amidst the chaos." Under the cover of darkness, Garrett filled a suitcase with his belongings and departed. His whereabouts remain a mystery to me, most likely to Vanessa's place, though I pondered how eager she would be to welcome him now that he had lost much of his wealth and was staring down the barrel of possible career disaster. For the first time in weeks, I found myself nestled in our bed, my bed now. And in the midst of it all, even with the conclusion of my marriage and the turmoil of the past month, I found myself sleeping peacefully. For the first time since uncovering Garrett's treachery, I sensed a newfound power over my destiny. The following morning, everything in Garrett's life came crashing down. Though he had inked the settlement to stop me from revealing his financial misdeeds, I had never vowed to remain silent about the affair. At 9 a.m., I reached out via email to the managing partners at Caldwell and Remington, sharing my worries regarding the connection between Garrett and his secretary, detailing the dates and times of their meetings during business hours. By noon, Garrett was on the phone filled with an intense fury. In a twist of fate, the managing partners summoned him for an urgent gathering. In the realm of office dynamics, connections were not outright banned, yet the organization maintained rigorous guidelines regarding transparency and hierarchical interactions. Garrett had crossed both lines. "You said you wouldn't reveal my secrets if I agreed?" He yelled into the phone. I assured him that I would keep his financial misdeeds under wraps. "I remained silent regarding your affair." I ended the call while his voice echoed in frustration. On the next Monday, an email arrived from the managing partner at Caldwell and Remington. They expressed gratitude for my vigilance in highlighting the issue and shared that the necessary steps had been taken. It was revealed to me that the necessary steps taken involved Garrett being put on administrative leave while an investigation was underway. Yet the true impact arrived on Tuesday morning. As I delved into the documentation I'd collected regarding Garrett's dealings, an internal auditor from the firm stumbled upon inconsistencies in his billing records, mirroring the financial misconduct I had already unearthed. The period of administrative leave transformed into a final farewell. The conclusion of the matter resulted in a referral to the Colorado Bar Association's Ethics Committee. Garrett found himself in the midst of an unraveling narrative where the carefully woven threads of his existence began to fray and fall apart. As each piece descended, I couldn't help but pause, contemplating the profound misjudgment I had made regarding the man I had chosen to share my life with. It feels like just yesterday, yet it was 2 years ago. It's fascinating how swiftly a life can change for both him and me. Once the divorce was complete, I parted ways with the house in Highlands Ranch. Countless recollections and overwhelming presence of negativity. In the heart of downtown Denver, I found a charming little condo that boasts a stunning view of the mountains. The funds from selling the house and cabin, along with my share of our investments, provided me with a solid foundation of financial stability. Garrett's descent from his esteemed position was both dramatic and rapid. The Colorado Bar Association has put his license on hold while they conduct a thorough ethics investigation. Once upon a time, the IRS decided to delve into the intricate tapestry of his finances, tracing back through the threads of 7 years. Caldwell and Remington took a step back, making it clear through a public statement that his actions were solely his own and did not represent the values of the firm. Vanessa's time here was brief, like a fleeting shadow. As the allure of wealth and status faded away, so too did her desire to weave a future alongside Garrett. Last I heard, she had embarked on a new chapter in Chicago, where she was weaving her professional journey at a different law firm. I truly don't hold it against her. She was young, caught in the web of someone wielding power, who likely portrayed me as the distant career-driven spouse who overlooked him. Once upon a time, there was a tale that had been told many times before. There are moments when individuals inquire whether I wish things had unfolded differently, whether my reaction to Garrett's betrayal was overly severe or too methodical, weighs on my mind. Perhaps reflecting on the other path, where I would be left with nearly nothing after 12 years of partnership, witnessing him relish the rewards of our shared efforts, while I fought to start anew. I realize I chose wisely for myself. It was quite an unexpected twist when I crossed paths with Garrett around 6 months back. Once upon a time, in a cozy little coffee shop nestled in the heart of downtown, a tale began to unfold. He appeared, transformed, more understated and less refined, the luxurious watch and custom suit swapped for simpler clothing. He finds himself in the role of a legal consultant at the moment, waiting for the review of his license suspension next year before he can return to practicing law. In a twist of fate, the IRS issue reached a resolution with a hefty payment and penalties, yet he managed to steer clear of any criminal charges. Our conversation was short and filled with an uncomfortable silence. He inquired about my well-being. I shared with him the exciting news of my promotion to managing director at my firm, along with my involvement in a nonprofit board dedicated to empowering women through financial literacy and independence. "You always had the upper hand," he remarked with a weary grin. I ought to have kept that in mind. We both stumbled along the way. I confessed catching myself off guard with the revelation. Mine was under the impression that our union was something it truly wasn't. He responded, saying that he believed there was something greater out there than what he currently possessed. In the grand tapestry of our experiences, I want to express my heartfelt apologies, Mel. It's not only about the incident itself, but also about the way I navigated everything that followed. I nodded, acknowledging his apology, but withholding my forgiveness. Some bridges once set aflame remained forever lost to the past, yet that recognition held significance. As we went our separate paths, he posed one last inquiry: what gave it away? Regarding the financial matters, I believed I was being cautious. A smile spread across my face. I'm a financial analyst, Garrett. Let me share some insights with you. My role revolves around identifying discrepancies and safeguarding valuable resources. You simply overlooked the essence of my actions. Isn't it fascinating how things unfold? The abilities I had developed over the years, which Garrett frequently undervalued compared to his own legal expertise, turned out to be the very things that rescued me when our marriage fell apart. These days, I'm embracing life and weaving my own narrative. I'm flourishing. The work with the nonprofit has been especially rewarding. I've guided numerous women through the complexities of their financial journeys during divorce, showing them how to uncover concealed assets and safeguard themselves from partners who might exploit their vulnerabilities. I've moved past the idea of seeking retribution. That's not necessary for me. Embracing a fulfilling life is the ultimate form of retribution. Yet I often reflect on the teachings, my experiences, and the lessons I've gathered, ready to share with others. What's the key takeaway? Knowledge holds great strength. Understanding finances opens the door to independence, and no one, regardless of how deep your affection runs, should wield total authority over your financial destiny. It seems that Garrett has ventured into the world of romance once more. Let's find someone who fits the right age this time. Someone I trust he cherishes for qualities that go beyond mere youth or looks. Maybe experiencing loss revealed to him the essence of what is truly important. Or maybe that's not the case. In any case, it's no longer something I need to worry about. My journey is now solely my own. And that beyond any resolution or gratification from Garrett's demise is the genuine triumph